show the Minnesota Blizzard what it means to face the Outlaws on Siouxland soil.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another beautiful evening of fast feet, fierce tackles, and full-blown outlaw soccer live here from Bishop Hill Memorial Field in a smoky Sioux City, Iowa. It is a scorching 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 28 degrees Celsius for those of you not here in the States. Here as we are looking to the start here between the Siouxland United Outlaws and the Minnesota Blizzard. Today's starting lineup: in goal, number 66, Bradley Ironside. On defense, number 16, Lucas Foreman. Number 3, Abdul Abdallah. Our captain, number 4, Xavier Davidson. And number 44, Toaz Narazaki. In the midfield today, starting us off with number 99, Samuel Puth. Number 23, Javi Munoz. Number 33, Flynn Faulkner. And number 8, Ketsu Yorishia. And leading the line is number 6, Daniel Contera, and number 17, Harmudi Yanikiyama. The Outlaws are led by their head coach, Alex Trent, and assistant coaches of BJ Wild, Long Vo, Giovanni Cruel, and Anthony Galanina, along with our athletic trainer, the one and only Bailey Clapper. Tonight's starting lineup for the Blizzard. Starting us off at number 16, Carter Hammerson. Number 23, Cian Magui. Number 10, Devin Gigado. Number 3, Diego Connell. Number 97, Dylan Ayers. Number 15, Evan Moreno. Number 8, Hubert Company. Number 7, Jadon Morgan. Number 2, Jaden Weffel. Number 4, Noah Hammerson. And number 22, Riley Porter. Today's match is officiated by our center referee of Aaron McDough, assistant referees Kian Dektrix and Seth Hensley, and a fourth official of Kyle Haley. Looking like a great start here for the Siouxland United Outlaws. My name is JD Morrow. Joining here with me is Alex Schuler. Alex, how are you feeling for today's game?
Not too bad, JD. Thanks for leading us off today. And yeah,
a little bit of a shaky start here for both of us.
Yeah, kind of a end-to-end start, you could say. Both teams having some early chances, and the Outlaws are on it here. Gets by the keeper. Good covering defending there from the Blizzard. And yeah, I feel like in even just the first 2 minutes, both teams have had a couple chances, and it'll be interesting to see the adjustments. Both these teams did play matches yesterday, so obviously, you know, there'll be some squad rotation today, as you're seeing from the Outlaws, and, you know, maybe some tactical adjustments from the Blizzards. JD?
Absolutely, Alex. Like you mentioned, both teams playing games yesterday, so I imagine not very fresh pair of legs on both sides here, as the Outlaws seem to be controlling the midfield.
Yep, Faulkner, number 33, has been able to find the ball a lot. And, you know, just for clarification, the Outlaws will be in their navy blue kits today, and the Blizzard will be in the lighter blue kits. And there's a great move there by number 99, Samuel Puth.
Beautiful moves there.
Outlaws, again, controlling some possession, obviously kind of like they started out last night, which was a good sign and obviously boded well and as the match went on.
Absolutely, Alex. For those of you who missed yesterday's game, Outlaws won 5-0 against Joy FC in a very intense game there. I mean, we kind of covered it yesterday, and you can find some more clips on our YouTube channel, but just to kind of touch it up, a lot of back and forth action in the midfield, some pretty good shots on goal, but ultimately Outlaws were able to find some momentum and really keep the momentum to take them from 0-0 to a 5-0 win.
Yep, and a dangerous chance here for the Outlaws. Harumi about to take a long throw and put it in the area here. Ball in here, and looking if the Outlaws can get on the end of it. Great strike. Looks like it took a deflection. Can the Blizzard keep it in? They can. Once again, good quick pressure from the Outlaws. Similar to last night, JD, when their ball recovery was exceptional every time they lost it.
Absolutely, Alex. You know, it's starting off here with the first 3.5 minutes of the game. You'd love to see it, you know. The only thing you'd like to see more than that is a couple of shots in the back of the net.
Yeah, Faulkner finds the ball again here in the middle of midfield.
I have a feeling we're going to be saying a lot of that tonight, Alex. Here, Faulkner keeps finding that ball. As the Outlaws.
Does look like Faulkner's playing on the right side of the diamond today.
A little bit, like you said, Alex, a little bit of change in tactics from the Outlaws.
Looks like Puth is at the base of the diamond. And yesterday that was really key. That defensive mid position with the back four I felt really controlled the game for the Outlaws as ball trickles back to Ironside here. Get a touch. Ironside calms it down and finds Abdul on the left-sided center back.
Able to really set the momentum here for the Outlaws.
And as usual, we will have a couple guests on with us today. I'll reveal those a little bit later on here today as the Outlaws just slowly building through midfield right now. And as we said yesterday, the Outlaws got a big 3 points. And, that kind of gave them more to play for today, you could say, is obviously a win today does take them level on points with 3 other teams in the NPSL North Conference. It will be a 4-way tie on 6 points from second place to 5th place potentially. So it would be a big 3 points if they can get it done today, JD.
Absolutely, Alex. They set the bar pretty high yesterday, and I think they're looking to keep that bar.
As Harumi's in here, taken down. That might be the last defender.
Ran right into the goalie there.
Appears it's just a yellow card. Part of me thought that could have potentially been a red card with a dog-so.
I'm a big fan of hockey, Alex. I could have swore I saw a shoulder check right there.
Yeah, it's definitely something where as a referee he must have determined that there was some covering defenders that prevented it, I guess, from being a red card in the views of the center ref.
Absolutely, Alex. Like we always say, our view isn't the same as theirs.
Exactly. Looks like Harumi, the one who won the foul, will be over the free kick right now.
Looking like
could still be a very dangerous chance for the Outlaws, though.
Absolutely, Alex. Definitely a spot you don't want to be in right so early in the game if you're a fan of the Blizzard here. Right into the wall, and it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, a little bit warm out there for the players today, you could say, JD.
Definitely a hot one, Alex. So like I mentioned, 84 degrees Fahrenheit here, and quite smoky overcast in the Sioux City area today. 28 degrees Celsius for those of you not here in the States, with some questionable moves there from the Blizzard.
Yeah, once again cycling possession through their back line. Good little chip over the top. Unfortunate handball there on the Outlaws. And, as we said, both these teams did play yesterday. The Blizzard had a narrow defeat up the road in Sioux Falls, 2-1. And your Siouxland United Outlaws are coming off a win. So obviously, some different dynamics there with how both teams approach the game and how both teams respond today.
Exactly, Alex. Like I mentioned earlier, probably very few fresh pairs of legs for both teams here, so it'll be interesting to see how they decide to cycle each player throughout the game.
Definitely, and there is probably about 5, 6, potentially 7 changes, I think I'm counting, 7 or 8 for the Outlaws today. Looks like they kept the center back pairing the same from yesterday. And then that is pretty much close to it. So, yeah, it might be 8 or 9 changes today from the Outlaws, obviously, and it'll be interesting how the fresh legs respond in the team. It's looking good so far, though, JD.
Absolutely.
Outlaws stroking the ball around the pitch here pretty well. Foreman finds it at the left back position.
A lot of recycling here from the Outlaws, but, you make do with what you got, and you got plenty of time here as we quite deep wayward pass here on the top of the pitch with a little bit of negative motion for the Outlaws. Once again, just kind of not really the direction you want to see the boys going in tonight as we change the angle of attack.
Great ball there. Faulkner finds the through ball. Can we put it on frame here? Great save from the keeper. That last touch might have taken him a little bit too far, JD.
It might have.
Still a big chance for the Outlaws, but
Absolutely.
nonetheless a very good start.
Yep, we love to keep the energy high, and that certainly will keep your energy very high. Here as the Outlaws once again in the back line, taking their time looking for open men. Just
Right.
a bit of a messy pass there.
Yeah, definitely the right idea. Just some poor execution there on the ball down the line, JD. And it looks like a little bit of mobility in the attack today, it appears, for the Outlaws, as between Hirumi and Yoshida. Obviously a little bit of interchange there with who's on the front line and who's working in the midfield today. Maybe something the Outlaws are looking to exploit. Again, all sorts of time in the midfield for the Outlaws to work the ball up the pitch. Great little combination play. Faulkner finds himself on the ball again. There's numbers going forward. Ball goes wide to Hirumi. Foreman on the overlap. Hirumi looking to get a cross in. Great ball, and just misses the chance.
Oh my goodness, Alex.
Contreras just scuffs the chance, and that was a massive moment for Siouxland there.
Exactly, Alex. You know, you love, even though we missed, you love to see that sort of chemistry between players. You know, it seemed like nobody really made too many major mistakes. Just wasn't able to put that ball in the back of the net there.
Definitely, and I was speaking to head coach Alex Tran earlier today, and he did agree they did a good job creating chances in the first half yesterday. It was just a matter of they probably need to finish more of them moving forward.
Absolutely. Ironside once again finds himself with the ball. Able to reset some momentum here for the Outlaws.
Again, a little bit of interchange there in midfield. Munoz finding himself on the ball on a deeper roll.
You know, Alex, I'm noticing a bit of a slower pace today. It might just be that summer sun. And right as I say that, of course.
Definitely looking to chip the keeper. That may be in. Oh, hit the crossbar on the football goalpost. Once again, Contreras finding himself in space, though. He's been dangerous here very early on, would you say, JD?
Absolutely. You know, if I'm the head coach of the Blizzard right now, I'm definitely telling my players to keep my eyes on him, just to be able to not only create but come pretty close to having such good opportunities so early in the game. I mean, that's definitely somebody you're going to want to keep an eye on today.
Definitely. Blizzard pressing a little bit higher here right now. Numbers forward again. Faulkner, advanced position, touch just a bit wayward, but does well to control it. Toraj gives the ball away, unfortunately. And yeah, once again, Siouxland does look to be dictating tempos, very similar to last night. It's just going to be a matter of fact, I think, if they can put the ball in the net here early and change the game. Great play from the Blizzard there out of pressure.
Absolutely. Kapani here cuts it across the pitch. A lot of forward momentum here for the Blizzard.
Yeah, first real spell, the Blizzard have been able to keep the ball for a little bit in the middle of the field. Foreman does push it out. Blizzard again playing out of pressure. Good pressure there from Foreman. Wins it off. Finds Munoz. Trying to dribble his way out of pressure and really trust Ironside's first touch here. Once again, find ourselves at the right back. Taraj finds Davidson. Davidson and Abdul in the back did create a formidable partnership last night, and that's something the coaching staff didn't want to tweak today, amongst other things. So,
no, absolutely not, Alex. And it seems to be working for them so far. Just as both teams seem to have some pretty good chemistry moments here, just not able to capitalize completely on them. As
once again, you know, you love to see the urgency in winning the ball back from the Outlaws, and allows them to go forward quickly, allows their attackers to split wide and create those channels for their midfield to run through, JD.
There's once again.
Ball forward to Hirumi almost.
Davidson gets it way up the pitch here. Looking like a lot of back and forth wayward action. Short pass. Caught up by Kaputski for Blizzard. Able to send it way up the pitch here. Ironside looking for just a long pass as it goes right out. Looking like it was intended for number 33, Faulkner.
Yep. Yeah, you saw the idea there, just some poor execution.
Yep, exactly. Idea was well, just execution was not there.
A great little play from the Blizzard there. They might be in if he can keep it in. Looked very close to out of bounds, but referee disagreed. And good recovery runs there from Siouxland, though. Taraj got back in and calmly won the ball back for his team. And, you know, the Outlaws have been very confident playing out of the back this year, and that's kind of where the basis of their style of play is based on.
Absolutely there.
As we said, it'll be a warm one out there on the turf for both teams, obviously.
I am not jealous, Alex.
Yeah, it's nice they get let us sit in the air conditioning up here, huh, JD?
Absolutely, Alex. I've sat in plenty boxes that do not have air conditioning, and I'm not going to lie, I'd rather be out there running in the field on those days. But in a day like today, with AC in this room, there's nowhere better to be here as the Outlaws.
It looks like Harumi just straight a step offside there, but the ideas and the build-up there from Faulkner and Foreman were really good.
Absolutely there.
Yeah, and definitely with this heat today, you might think General Manager Jesse Castillo's begging me for an interview today so he can get out of the heat for a bit.
Nope, he's out there in his bright orange, as bright as bright can be. Which, you know, you'd love to see from a general manager there, out there with the players, building morale here.
Definitely. So, and looking at the standings, obviously, you know, you got it's kind of a crowded NPSL North Conference. So Minnesota Blizzard have played 3 games. They actually kicked off their season with a pretty impressive 3-0 win over the Sioux Falls Thunder, and then since then have had dropped 2 results. Kind of a unique setup, though, because 2 of their 3 matches have already been against Sioux Falls, so they still have pretty much the rest of the league to play in their setup. But yeah, both teams sitting on the same number of points, respectively in 5th and 6th place in the conference. So, you know, whoever comes out on top today will kind of take a step forward, honestly, towards the playoffs, despite it being early.
Absolutely, a
little physical play there. Referee sees nothing wrong with it.
A lot of physical play here, Alex, that you kind of missed. Here's
yeah, as I was saying today, ball bad giveaway from Ironside there.
Jaden Morgan for the Blizzard there, almost able to get a shot on goal there.
Yeah, and as I was saying before that mistake in the back, you know, it is a pretty crowded NPSL North Conference. You have Duluth in first place on 9 points out of a possible 9. Kind of setting the pace, which has been the trend the last couple years with being one of the stronger teams in the conference. Then you have a whole hodgepodge of 3 teams on 6 points, Joy Athletic Club, Iowa Demon Hawks, and the Sioux Falls Thunder. And then on 3 points, respectively, we have these 2 teams. So the winner of this game today will go level on points with 2nd place. If we do have a winner, if there's a draw, they both inch closer. So you definitely probably will see both teams go for this the longer it goes on, JD.
Absolutely, Alex. You know, kind of mentioned earlier.
Great win over there. Siouxland has numbers if they can make this work. Harumi, good save from the keeper there. Dangerous chance there. Siouxland wins it quick. Another close chance there. Yoshida barely wide. And yeah, that combination of Yoshida and Harumi is really, really working today.
Absolutely. What a wonderful save by number 97, Dylan Ehlers for the Blizzard there. As the Outlaws, as the Blizzards looking to make an early substitution here. You know, Alex, I was kind of talking about it before. Like you said, you know, both teams really have a really interesting matchup here. Both teams played a game yesterday. Both have very few fresh pairs of legs, and both have a lot on the line for today's game here. Like you said, if we have a winner, they're going to be tied up for 2nd in terms of points in the league here. As the Blizzard gets dangerously close up the line, but Outlaws able to recover here. Yeah. Kind of a misplaced pass there.
Yeah, definitely a big moment, I think, in both team seasons, obviously, you know, and the I think it's really important for Siouxland to get something out of this game. Not only it's a home game, obviously, as the ball's through there. Harumi might have been a step off sides. But as I was saying, you know, next week the Siouxland United Outlaws host Duluth, which is the league-leading Duluth coming here. So, getting everything you can out of this game, I think, is massive for the Outlaws today. Really calm play there from Tourage.
Absolutely, Alex. He just seems to work so well under so much pressure.
Good ball there from Abdul. Finds Yoshida, who calmly plays it back, and Davidson will go long. Good run from Foreman. Looked like there was a handball there. Foreman reacts fantastic and still springs a chance for his team. Touch inside kind of took Contreras into more pressure there, JD, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. That little touch and turn inside really, like you said, Alex, put a little extra pressure on him that I think he could have avoided had he gone outside. Could have bought himself a little more time as well there. As Narazaki here gives it back to Ironside. Ironside looking for a man, decides to give it to Davidson. Davidson to Narazaki. Narazaki, short little wayward pass here.
A little bit of an overplay there in the center, and you hope this doesn't cost them.
A little bit there, but
calmness there from
the
Abdul Abdallah.
Ironside.
Oh, and we might be onto something here. Contreras through. Can he do something with it? Good early ball. Great dummy there. Harumi. Another defender gets in the way for the Blizzard, and the Outlaws are knocking on the door, JD.
Yeah, we're just there, Alex. I mean, that dummy from the Outlaws was great, but that pause from Harumi, I don't know, Alex. In hindsight, it's 2020, but for me up here in the box, I think that pause might have cost him a better shot.
We have a corner kick now.
Corner kick, which means, of course, that I think our sponsors, Protective Insurance, always got our back. Schulzer delivering wins. Campbell Electric, shocking the league. Shrunk Roofing, covering Siouxland. Goal Kick Soccer, your gear plug. Adidas, Stripe for Days. And Rent Sue, the housing legends. Thank you to all of those and for sponsoring us this season.
Yeah, and as JD was talking, another good chance there for the Outlaws, and you definitely feel the Outlaws are banging on the door here, as we said. It's just, the good thing about last night is they got the goal about at this moment to kind of change the game, and it looks like they're going to have to do something similar. As you hear the owner's reaction as another ball goes amiss. Another hit to the budget there with that one, you could say, JD. Those select balls are not cheap for matches. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely not, Alex. Somebody is getting a pretty good pair of soccer balls.
Maybe we can send Jesse Castillo over to get it, but it looks like there is a ball boy headed that way. Good defending there from the Outlaws, and the Outlaws have had chances on the break here. As
we might have another one here.
Yoshida there going about 1 versus 5, just didn't have much help up with him on the transition moment.
Seemed to be handling it pretty well there, surprisingly, too. But I guess we'll never get to see him finish that off.
Yeah, the dangerous thing about a game like this is obviously the longer the Blizzard hang in it, even though they haven't been on top, is, that's when you get yourself into trouble.
Absolutely, Alex.
Great win there from Harumi.
Win there. What a win.
Yoshida can't gather it. Good move there by the Blizzard. One of their defenders stepping forward, a little clip ball forward. Good defending there from Taraj. Davidson does not mess about. Harumi is so active in that front line, I must say, JD.
Absolutely. He's really causing a lot of problems. Seems to be all over the grid here for the Blizzard. Causing a little bit of back and forth here between Firko Pitney and Moreno here for the Blizzard. Moreno once again finds himself with the ball. Gives it up to Kopney.
Long ball trickles all the way through to Ironside. And yeah, there's definitely the clear pattern to this game. Siouxland's been able to build out well, create a bunch of chances. It'll be interesting as it goes on. Like I said, if the longer this goes 0-0, that's more danger, I would say, for Siouxland if you've been the team that's on top, because it's just one little mistake, one little moment the other way is what gets you.
Could not agree with you more, Alex, as once again Davidson, just the ball finds himself here in the back line of the Outlaws.
Great move there by Munoz. Maybe overcooks it a bit, but the ball still finds it. Contreras, excuse me. Good defending there from the Outlaws, looking if they can break quickly. Faulkner, good little touch away from pressure. Faulkner played his college ball just up the road at Iowa Lakes Community College. Team that won the national championship a couple years ago. Good turn, Harumi. Probably plays through a foul. Good ball in a dangerous area. Falls to Faulkner, and unfortunately it goes a miss.
Who sends it over.
Is that another lost ball,
That's another
JD?
lost ball, Alex. That's probably the furthest one.
Maybe the next guest we better get on better be one of the other owners, Adam Dean. You know, ask him about how all these lost game balls are going to impact the Outlaws moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks to our sponsors for being able to afford all these lost balls, Alex.
Yes. Speaking of sponsors.
Speaking of sponsors, we'd like to thank Plains Asset Management, Smart Money Moves, Get Branded 360, Reds Printing for making us look good. Go Passage, Easy Ticketing, Quality IT, our digital defenders, Mike Murphy, our team lawyer, Wells Blue Bunny, Victory Never Tasted So Sweet, and great for a hot day like today, La Juanita's Tacos with a Bite, Fibercom, our Connection Kings, Stony Creek Hotel, the Outlaw HQ, Chesterman's, and Powerade for being our hydration squad. Definitely a key sponsor for a day like today, Alex.
Yeah, I would definitely say Chesterman's an MVP of a day like this for sure.
You know, Chesterman's and Blue Bunny. Wells Blue Bunny. I could go for some ice cream after this.
It is a good summer day for ice cream. May not technically be summer by the calendar, but
You know what, Alex? It's post Memorial Day. It might as well be.
Yep, summer soccer in Siouxland, definitely summertime.
Smoky too. Not the good kind though.
Yeah, Siouxland United just can't get impatient here with balls like that. You know, they're going to have moments to attack and play the ball quickly, but definitely they just can't get impatient. Here's the other thing. Being in a nil-nil game, sometimes you do want to press. But obviously, you know, you can't do anything too crazy, obviously, because one mistake will change it, as we said.
Absolutely not here. Only 26 minutes into the game. Definitely not the time you want to be making reckless mistakes like that. You got plenty of time to
Sure.
build off opportunities here.
And it's been a pretty clean game as well. You know, obviously not too high tempo in the heat like this. Not many injuries. Our athletic trainer Bailey Clapper has just been able to keep hydrated on the sideline. Hopefully not deal with any bad injuries today.
Hopefully not. You know, I feel bad for her, and I do not envy the sunburn. It's probably going to come pretty soon. As ball finds itself here deep with the goalkeepers. Looking to take their time here.
Yeah, it looks like the Blizzard are trying to catch their breath here for sure.
Absolutely.
Keeper has made a couple great saves today, I must say.
He has very fast reaction.
Stepped there by Foreman. Good gather by Blizzard. Can the Blizzard punish the Outlaws here? It's moments like these, they got to be careful. Great recovery there from Contreras. Good find there to Munoz. Faulkner in that little half space again, and Taraj driving forward. Can he find a runner through? Lays the ball off there to Yoshida. Good little play.
Oh, a little bit of
bad giveaway there in
dangerous.
midfield as Faulkner dropping in at right back to give some cover here.
Morgan with the Blizzard here, able to slide it behind. Here, Blizzard getting pretty close to a dangerous opportunity here.
Good defending there by number 99 Puth. Yoshida and acres of space here. The Blizzard playing a really high line. Just takes one pass to potentially break a line like that, JD.
Absolutely. As the Outlaws are kind of looking to collect some momentum here. You know, Outlaws back line already way up the pitch here, past the 50-yard line of American football, which is definitely not somewhere that I would like to see them, Alex. You know, I'd like to have my defense, because then you have moments like this where if they're fast enough, you know, you can blow past a couple of defenders.
Yeah, but I will play devil's advocate here, JV. In a game like this and heat like this, you know, the more you have the ball, the more that wears on the other team if there's chasing. You know, the ball is faster than anyone. So on a day like this, something like that might pay off. And we are at a water break here. And, you know, speaking of hydration, we can get to that sponsor and a couple others, JD.
That's right, Alex. We would like to thank Chesterman's and Powerade, our hydration squad, for sponsoring this water break, along with Ho Chung Capital, investing in the future, iHeartMedia, Outlaw Hype Squad, Specialized Concrete, our solid support, Rad LLC, Investment Brains, Savvy Retirement and Investment Guidance, Reside Properties, Real Estate with a Heart, Verde Outdoors, Signs That Shout, Great Western Rentals, Tools of the Trade, La Piedra de la Mar, Food and Football, Big Picture Entertainment, Screen Giants, Hamilton Touchless, and Alden Alvaro and host families, our home away from home. Thank you to those for sponsoring us this season.
And obviously these water breaks present a unique challenge as well in games like this. You know, it's almost like a timeout, which is a rare thing in soccer.
Absolutely. A rarity in soccer. But, definitely something I would imagine both teams are kind of capitalizing on, especially having such a rare thing. As we mentioned before, it's a break in the action is a nice time for the coaches to kind of really go over, at least quickly with the players. Hey, I need you to do this better and do this better. This is what they're kind of going for,
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, Alex?
Yeah, looks like Coach Longvow's given some instructions to players down there, obviously on kind of the tactical side and how to build and get in. But yeah, this might be an unfortunate break, despite getting some hydration for Siouxland United. I do feel like they've had the momentum most this half, and when you're in the ascendancy, you obviously want to keep the momentum going, obviously all that fun stuff. But, water breaks can sometimes change games like that. You have to do it when obviously you're in heat like this from like a safety perspective. So there's nothing you can really do about it, change the rule, change the setup. But it's definitely something where, it'll be unique to see how the teams approach this last 15 minutes or so of this half.
Absolutely correct, Alex. As the temperature is slowly climbing here in Sioux City, we've now hit 86 degrees here Fahrenheit in Sioux City, Iowa, which is about 29 degrees Celsius for those of you across the pond.
Well, it's probably better we aren't playing at about 5 or 6 p.m. tonight because it's going to keep getting hotter today, JD.
Absolutely, Alex. It's on a hot day like today. Right now is the key time because that afternoon heat just hits different.
Definitely, and speaking of later today, there is another game in town just down the road. As those that were listening yesterday, remember us talking to Tom Maxon, the head coach of the Sioux City Soul women's team. They do play at 5 o'clock today, just up the road at Faber Field on the campus at Briarcliff University. So, if folks here want to brave the heat for a bit longer, obviously can go up the road a little bit and catch some more good soccer in Siouxland. However, JD,
definitely going to be a good game, Alex. Obviously we're a little biased talking to Tom yesterday, but like Tom said, he's definitely been building an incredible team, and it'll be very interesting to watch how him and his players handle not only the opponents but the heat today, just like the Outlaws and the Blizzard here. As we looking to set back up.
About back ready for play after about a 2-minute break. Referee should just be adding that time on at the end of the half, however. And we're back at it. Quickly, a long throw there. Contreras, can he punish him right away? This may be a quick start after a water break. Shot and a goal! That stoppage proves pivotal for Siouxland United, JD.
Absolutely, Alex. You were worried about them losing the momentum, and I think they just proved to us that did not kill it. As a matter of fact, it tripled it.
For sure, yeah. I think Coach Longvow and BJ Wiley today might have something to say to Alex up here in the box about that. But, that just speaks to their adjustments, obviously. That's, that goal was coming. Whatever they said in the huddle, bam, straight away, got numbers behind it, went forward.
Absolutely, Alex. Within the first 15 seconds back on the field, a goal that quickly is something, not only something you'd love to see, but something you can only see from really a skilled team like that.
Definitely. So perfect timing there as we will get our first guest of the day on here for the next 5 minutes or so. I'll introduce him, let him talk a little bit and everything. So our first guest today on the mic, we have Athletic Director from Western Iowa Tech Community College, Mike Brown.
What up, Alex?
Who is happy to have you here today, Mike, who is a Siouxland staple. Mike, how long have you lived in Siouxland then?
Oh, since I was 8, man. About 8 years old.
Dang. So how exciting is it for you to see, teams like this coming to Siouxland and building like the culture, on the field, obviously, Mike, but off the field as well?
Alex, it's another opportunity for Siouxland soccer. Mm-hmm. Another opportunity for people that pass through Siouxland and may end up staying. So I think this is a good time that this is happening, and I don't see anything else but good things for the future.
Definitely, definitely. So, and you're not just saying all this because, you know, you want to raffle for free tickets to come to the Siouxland United games, right, Mike? So, but it is great to have you here. Obviously, you know, you just wanted to come up in the box and sit. So,
Yes.
yeah, what have you thought about the game so far then?
You know, I take that. We have so many opportunities. I walked out for a second. Ooh.
And another one. You about had to scream goal and not even me, Mike. Taking JD and mine's job.
I walked out for a second, and the Outlaws hit it, and that's what it is.
Yep.
I think strategic is big, and I tell you what, Alex, I did not know soccer was as detailed as it is. It's super detailed, and I think people need to give it more credit.
Definitely, definitely. So, so what's exciting in your world then? Obviously, you're athletic director, Western Iowa Tech. You know, what's going on with the Comets then recently?
Well, right now, as you know, we got students leaving, and a good thing to say is that we have around a 96% graduation rate, transfer rate. If you come to Western Iowa Tech and play sports, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go to another college. You know, and that's the main thing. And we Outlaws almost just scored again as I'm talking.
You're good luck up here. We did this last night
That's
with
a
General
good thing.
Manager Jesse. Every time I have a guest on, we about score. So,
You know, if you get more shots on goal, that means sooner or later you're going to hit it. That's what I'm learning.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to create the opportunities. But no, that's awesome to hear that. So obviously some. Yeah, you know, obviously with being a college athletic director, what's been the biggest challenge about you stepping into that role? How long have you been at WIT before that?
And I've been at WIT I'm going on 28 years at Western Iowa Tech. I got hired in 1996 and have been working for students and with students ever since. And I have had the luxury of having an awesome job, awesome bosses, and now it's even better because I am the athletic director of not only sports but soccer teams. So that's what's up.
For sure, for sure. And obviously in the future there'll probably be some, you know, moments obviously where the Comets and you will work with Siouxland United and other teams in the community, whatever
Yes.
sport that might be, to kind of grow the game. Can you speak on that?
Yes, was just talking to one of the owners. We definitely, for the lack of a better word, I told him get in bed together.
Contreras about to score
Boom!
again.
Boom!
Boom! Say it, Mike. Go!
Boom! My lungs ain't that good.
Hey, but Mike, thanks for coming on right now. We've created some chances when you've been on. So
That's what's up.
Yeah, as we got Daniel Contreras with the great solo finish there. So as you were saying, obviously with the partnerships and stuff in the community about the Comets.
Yeah, you know, one of the things about Western Iowa Tech and this awesome soccer team that we're watching right now is that we're the only ones in town. What I mean by that is Siouxlanders can be fans of Western Iowa Tech and still be fans of Briarcliff, Morningside, the high schools, because Western Iowa Tech touches everybody, right? And everybody in Siouxland. And when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. And I think that the Outlaws can capitalize on that. Of course, we have a player that's playing for the Outlaws right now. I think that's an awesome thing. It's given our once Western Iowa Tech student another freaking option.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and that's kind of the cool thing. I think, you know, I've heard you talk about this before off air. Is obviously just kind of Siouxland's kind of a connector to everyone, and
Yes.
obviously the Outlaws team's a little bit of that. You have players out there who have played, you know, against teams in Siouxland, play for other teams in broader Siouxland, like Midland, Northeast Community College, Iowa Lakes Community College, stuff like that as well. So it's kind of a good melting pot, and obviously, yeah, you know, it's something that to be excited at the future about. So,
You know what, Alex? I'm feeling something. I'm feeling something coming on like a hot spot for soccer in Siouxland. It's a lot of S's right there, but I tell you what, you know, I'm hearing that Iowa needs something, right? And it's happening right here in Siouxland. Sorry I had to butt in right there, but I had
fine.
to say that.
No, it's good. You know, it's one of those things. Obviously, an athletic director dealing with soccer teams, you have a unique perspective as well, and know what the owners go through here. Obviously, dealing with the coaching staff and all that fun stuff too. But no, definitely appreciate you coming out today, Mike, and hopping on the mic. You know, you're
That's what's up.
Obviously, welcome
That's
anytime.
what's up.
You can go bug General Manager Jesse Castillo after
That's
this,
what's up.
or you can continue to hang out in the air conditioning with me and JD. So.
Shouts out to JD. Shouts out to Bailey Clapper. That's what's up. All right, man. I'm out. See
All
you
right,
later.
thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Appreciate you. back out here. Thanks
Back
again
on
to
air.
Mike Brown for hopping on.
What did I miss, Alex? Did I miss
What'd you
something?
miss? You missed some goals. Mike's going to be taking your job because he hopped on and we scored, JD.
Golly gee Williker, you know?
Maybe I'll have to hop off the mic and you guys will go.
You know, Alex, I think we need to have more guest speakers. We seem to be having a shift in momentum. A shift in momentum here for every single time you've had a guest on so far this season. I mean,
Definitely.
Outlaws.
Yeah, it's definitely something where the Outlaws really seized momentum big time after the water break, JD. Not only the first goal but the second goal, and once again a home game where the Outlaws are dictating tempos. Foreman drags this guy down. Probably a smart foul though there, I would say.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just got to take those fouls to really kill the momentum of a dangerous opportunity.
Yep. Oh, Blizzard try and go quick, but Xavier Davidson alert to it. And as some other people were saying up in the box here, you can definitely see the tempo slowed here a little bit with the heat, and I think you'll see that probably the last 10 minutes of both the halves today, JD.
Absolutely, Alex.
And especially right now, the Outlaws are in control of the game. Can't do anything silly like that, but, obviously you still want to dictate tempo, but, you can kind of set your own tempo when you're in control of the game like this, right?
Absolutely, Alex. And this, like you mentioned, Outlaws seem to keep kind of not only doing it, but keeping it. As once again, we're just back here in the back line, a lot of back and forth.
Definitely. And then obviously, the Outlaws do want to keep a high tempo and standard up, because, a win today does take them right back in the thick of it in the NPSL North Conference. But also the other thing, too, is if you get a result today, that means 2 home games, 2 wins right out of the gate, and that's always something you love to see as any team program. You got to protect your home court in every way possible.
Absolutely, Alex. Really build momentum, build morale, build some confidence in these players.
Speaking of momentum, Harumi's in again. Ooh, and that was a tight call. Referee deemed he was offside at the start of the attack there.
That seemed.
I know we're not directly in line with it, JD, but
no, but I'm gonna. Yeah, from our perspective, I mean, I don't think he was even a step too far.
Yeah.
Alex. But
it's like I always tell people when I ref, though, JD, I don't have VAR out there with me, so I'm not going to get everything right.
yeah, no.
Blizzard just trying to build through the midfield. And the Blizzard are really looking for this ball over the top, kind of in that channel right over Davidson's head. But, Taraj and Davidson and Ironside and Faulkner are really locking that area of the field down, you could say.
Absolutely, Alex. Have not been able to get too many opportunities. Blizzard have not been able to get too many opportunities past them. As we find ourselves once again in the midfield.
Munoz just overcooks it there a little bit. Blizzard trying to penetrate through the middle, and it's an area where a lot of players will be with the system Siouxland United's playing. Faulkner out here on the press. Just a little impatient there. And obviously as we head to halftime here with about 2.5 minutes left, and probably a couple added for the water break and a couple stoppages, I would imagine. What have been your thoughts so far, JD? You got to step away for a little bit and watch during my interview as well. So.
Absolutely, Alex. Well, first and foremost, like I said earlier, I think we need to have more guests on here because it seems like every single time we do, just major shifts of momentum. But in terms of tactics and play style, I mean, obviously both teams are really suffering, as I've mentioned before, from that game yesterday and today's heat. But they seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, Outlaws have been able to dictate momentum and really keep that momentum on their side, especially with that rare water break and a 15-second goal here. But, I mean...
That was probably one of the quickest goals after a water break ever, I will say.
I would say definitely. But I would say really key here is this Outlaws backline, as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. I mean, nobody's been able to really break through that and have too many dangerous opportunities. I would definitely say it's in the hands of the Outlaws for now. So... If I was Blizzard head coach right now, I'd be talking about making some major changes and sort of applying a lot more pressure. But other than that, I think we should have a pretty good second half here for the Outlaws. If the Outlaws can just maintain that sort of momentum and just not let the heat or the emotion get to them.
Or some overplaying out of the back here.
Absolutely.
Ironside got away with one there. Munoz. A little bit too many touches. The The Outlaws are doing good playing out of the back, but the only time they really get themselves into problems, JD, I feel, is when they overplay in areas like that, right? You know, obviously when you're playing out of the back, you want to shift the opponent, shift the other team. It's great to play out of the back, but you're still trying to shift it for space, right? You still have to go somewhere. And I think that's the only time they're really getting in trouble in possession here. You know, quicker switches of play like Ironside just did here to Taraj will open the game up, and then you can play in those little spots is what I'm seeing.
Absolutely, Alex. I would agree with you there. Like you said, you know, just taking too much time is you don't want to give that to the Blizzard. You know, you don't want to give them time to collect and
another bad giveaway from the Outlaws. Great
Apply.
defensive header there by Foreman on the back post. Foreman formerly played his soccer and currently does at Midland University in Fremont, Nebraska. Obviously, he'll be familiar with Sioux City as well, playing against Briarcliff and Morningside in his conference. Have some of those connections with the Siouxland United squad today. Either players who've played in Sioux City, played for programs in Sioux City, and just that connection that myself and Mike talked about to Siouxland.
Absolutely, Alex. You know, Siouxland kind of a key point here for Iowa. As
Speaking of Foreman there he is running forward. Not a bad look there from Abdul.
Not at all. As we find ourselves here in the just over the 45th minute of the first half, so we've officially entered stoppage time. I'd imagine a couple minutes, 4 or 5 minutes extra at most for stoppage, including that water break here, as the Outlaws find themselves once again Davidson in the back line.
About a minute in a stoppage time, and you know, probably a smart decision there from Faulkner just to get rid of it under some pressure and let the team get organized. A little bit tough collision there with the Blizzard player behind the play. Absolutely. But yeah, obviously as we head to halftime here, we'll give a shout out to another sponsor or two here quick before we go into our break, JD.
All right, I'm way ahead of you, Alex. Thank you to Get Branded 360 and Red's Printing for making us look good. La Juanita's Tacos with the Bite, Shrunk Roofing for covering Siouxland, Camel's Electric for shocking the league, and Perspective Insurance, who's always got our back. Thank you to those and many more who we'll be talking about later for sponsoring us this season as we find ourselves here at the top of the pitch.
Definitely. Siouxland United building through the midfield again. Just a patient run into halftime so far.
Outlaws just seeming to just wait for that clock to run out.
A little bit of an overplay here for Davidson, pounced upon by the Blizzard, then gives it right back. Munoz there playing simple, finding Faulkner, and that's all we have for the first half then as we head into halftime. Your hometown Siouxland United Outlaws lead 2-0 with 2 goals in quick succession right after about the 30-minute mark. So, JD, anything to add as we head into the break?
Absolutely nothing really. Alex kind of already said everything I wanted to. You got anything to add before we take off?
Nope. I will just say hopefully you join us back for the second half and enjoy the 15 minutes off, and go Outlaws.
Absolutely.
And welcome back to Bishop Elam Memorial Field here on a hazy Sunday afternoon here in Sioux City, Iowa, as your Outlaws currently lead 2-0 on the back of two quick succession goals, you could say, JD, just one right after the other to kind of change the game after that first half water break. So definitely interested to see how the teams come out, as a couple Minnesota Blizzard players are getting some treatment from athletic trainer Bailey Clapper here before we head back out for the halftime whistle, and the Outlaws are taking their sweet time getting back out here. Blizzard look like they're ready to go, and obviously, what are you looking for here early in the second half, JD?
Alex, I'm kind of just looking forward to the Outlaws hopefully keeping that momentum. Like you said, that sort of rare water break here in the 85-degree weather really gave them an opportunity to kind of collect themselves and their thoughts as we watch them. Within 15 seconds of that water break being over, just a beautiful forward pass right into a ball in the back of the net for the Outlaws, really giving them momentum to not even five minutes later put another ball in the back of the net, leading us here to the 2-0 lead for the Outlaws. So I'm just really hoping that they can keep that momentum. Keep going forward here. Definitely.
It looks like the Outlaws are trying to get their legs loose again. Fourth official's asking them to move it along, please.
If I'm the Outlaws right now, I'm taking my sweet time absolutely, because I don't want to be out in this hot sun. I don't have AC.
Looks like Coach B.J. Wiley is still coaching him up, walking out of the halftime whistle as he's talking to Munoz there. Just can't get enough today, Coach Wiley, huh?
No, he cannot. As both teams walk onto the pitch here.
Yeah, and obviously, like we said from the off, a big game today for Siouxland United, and obviously something where, a big half upcoming, and we're going to actually start off the half here with our first guest here, actually, and I'll introduce him here in a second when we get him on. Kind of a unique background, who's headed to Siouxland, the Siouxland area beforehand, and I'll go ahead and introduce him today, and his name is Sofian Hamami. Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's my name.
Sounds good. So, Sophie, I'll just kind of let you introduce yourself a little bit, kind of how you ended up here at Siouxland, and obviously, kind of give a little bit of your backstory, and we'll talk about all that fun stuff. So, kind of how'd you end up here in Siouxland?
Sure. So, I'm originally from Tunisia, and I'm German-Tunisian. I'm 26 years old. I'm a goalkeeper, former goalkeeper at Western Iowa Tech Community College. Yeah, so how I ended up here, Coach Alex Schroeder recruited me here, which is talking to me now. So I was playing in a 5th division in Germany, and he recruited me to come here. And it's a good experience to start here, to play here in Sioux City, which I see for Siouxland is a very big community, like for soccer, which Siouxland United is starting a new program since last year. Yep. And so.
Nice. So what do you like the best about Sioux City? So obviously you're still here after you graduated, right? You did graduate. You handled your classes and stuff. Obviously, it's something where what's keeping you around here this summer? Obviously, why'd you choose to stay here this summer instead of go back home before your next step?
Sure. Yeah, I decided this decision is because I just want to learn more of the American culture, like how in summer works. And for example, I made the decide here to stay to watch some semi-professional level like here in Siouxland United. Oh, that's the chance.
And we're through right here. Sophie, you might have to yell goal. Once again, a guest is on, and we almost score. The trend doesn't lie. So,
exactly.
Anyways, continue. Sophie, sorry about that. You're going to have to yell goal if they score, just so you know that.
Of course, absolutely. It was a Kitatsu with a good chance. Yeah, back where we were. So if I was to explain that, I ended up falling the level of a semi-professional in USA. Like, that was my goal, to come here in US, to play at the higher level, which I was playing before I come to US. I just want to see the difference, and I can tell, like, the Siouxland players, we have a lot of good D1 players, NAIA players, most of them, and JUCO too, from Iowa Western and Western Iowa Tech too, which they bring a good of potential in the team, and it compares very good, which I'm saying. So, that's why I just want to learn some experience to see, because I played even in 3 different countries. I played in Tunisia, in Spain, and Germany, so I'm absolutely open for doing something in the US to see the experience here, how it is. So, yeah.
For sure. So I'm going to make you put your goalkeeper hat on. So obviously the first half, the game kind of turned on its head, right? So after you get scored on as a goalkeeper, what's your mindset, right? Because obviously, you know, the Blizzard conceded 2 goals in quick succession. What was that like for you?
Yeah, for me, it's example like I can see like the 2 goals the goalkeeper conceded can do nothing, but of course you have to switch your mindset on. You cannot let your head down. Always you have to keep your head up, talk more, communicate, support your teammates to keep the level up. Like it's not giving up. Like in the first half, it's always tough to concede 2 goals, but it's not the end of the game. You still have like plenty of minutes to do a lot of chances. You can do in 5 minutes 2, 3 goals.
Exactly. Might have another chance here from the Outlaws. Great save there. Speaking of good goalkeeping.
Exactly. Yeah, he's doing good. Like he saved a lot of in the first minutes, a lot of one-on-ones.
Yep. Yeah, I believe his technique's good. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And he's made himself big, as the goalkeepers say, right, Sophie?
Yeah, exactly. When I was in the stands, I was hearing him. He's communicated a lot too with the players, which is important.
Yep.
But yeah, he's doing a good job.
Awesome. So I'll leave you with this, your last question. So what's next for Sophie? Obviously, you attended school here for a couple years at the JUCO level, transferring on. What's the next move for Sophie and when?
Yeah, it's going to be the next fall. And in the 1st August, I'm transferring to North American University. It's located in Stafford, Texas, which it's in,
the goalkeeper in you got excited there, like, oh, you got to deal with it, right?
Yeah, I would like, he should just punch the ball. Like, in the last second, he just... moved his hands away, but at least he was lucky.
I thought he had that punch too. Okay, at least I know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, so the next move for you is North American University, Stafford, Texas.
Exactly.
Just outside of Houston, right?
Yeah, sure. Like, it's outside Houston, which is, like, kind of close to Houston downtown, like 30 minutes drive. But, of course, we all know that we live in the U.S. Like, I know Houston is the 4th biggest city in the United States, that's one of the reasons why I came here in USA. Like, I wanted to do the experience, like explore more the cities, like
get all over the country a little bit, not just end up in Siouxland, even though you love it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Especially the more artisanal is like the conference is good too, like to play against Louisiana states and like New Mexico and all in Texas, and I think it's a good level to play. Yeah.
For sure. All right, well, I'll let you get back outside there and hang out at the game because obviously since you're transferring to a school in Houston, you got to get used to this 29 degrees Celsius, 85-degree heat as I think a couple people are calling you to go back outside, Sophie. So, go get used to that Texas heat. Appreciate you hopping on and supporting the Outlaws.
Cool. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Sophie.
See you soon.
And that was, again, Sofian Hamami, former player at Western Iowa Tech Community College, who's avid supporter of the Outlaws. As we have a yellow card for the Blizzard there, is a little late challenge. And now we have our next guest we wanted to get on quickly as he's got some other stuff going on today, so we wanted to obviously get him on the mic and speak to you guys as well. So I'm probably going to butcher his last name, but it's Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
Did I do it right? Oh, my gosh. So obviously Carlos is a big person in the Siouxland soccer community. You know, we wanted to get him on the mic, you know, and he's had a big involvement at just about every level, you know, the youth level, the high school level, the college level, and obviously coached as a college head coach and college assistant coach. So, Carlos, I'll kind of hand it to you. You can kind of tell people a little bit your backstory and how you ended up in Siouxland.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, well, I went to school not too far from here, like in Yankton, South Dakota. That's where I graduated with my bachelor's. And then after graduation, playing 4 years over there, then I have a lot of friends on this area in Sioux City, and that was my next move. Come over here, start coaching club, then have a success with the club team, the local club team that back then, and ODP came up, ODP at the region level, and then I got a call back from my college asking if I wanted to be a head coach over there. So coached there for 4 or 5 years and back to town here, being involved with Morning Inside and the Sioux City Soul now too. And I started a small business called Uru High Performance where we kind of like focus on developing kids. It's an individual training. A combination.
Bit different than team training, which is kind of unique, right?
Right. And be able to combine some of the fitness capacities with technique. Be able to start young, 9 years old, all the way up to some kids that are right now playing for Division 1. So, yeah, it's been good. We actually, our anniversary today, like, we've been 3 years here in Siouxland and working with kids. So,
Yeah.
very, very excited.
No, that's awesome. So obviously as a coach, like you've coached just about every level, every type of player, every gender, right? Men
Absolutely.
and women. So obviously you're doing that currently. How does your coaching style switch up based on the age you're coaching, the male or female dynamic you're coaching? How does that change for you from time to time, Carlos?
Yeah, I think with the kids, the main focus is to, I think, at any level, is development, right? Like, sometimes you kind of have to push aside a little bit the desire of winning and try to do what's best for each kid,
Right.
It's kind of hard as a coach when you have to work with 20, 25 kids at a time.
Another
That's-
great save
yeah.
from their keeper as you were talking.
Oh, no,
So
yeah, I
speaking
see
of
it, like,
development,
yeah.
he's made 3 or 4 really good saves today. But anyways,
Yeah, no, and that's kind of like when I started this Uru High Performance is to prepare the kids to try to play at this intensity, right?
Yes.
Like something that I was talking with Jesse, the general manager, the other day. He invited me to one of the practices. It's the intensity that they practice. I think that was really cool to see. And it's kind of like something when I talk to my youth players, it's like if one day you want to play at this level, the pace is what you're gonna have
intense,
to.
yeah.
The
Yeah, yeah.
intensity is gonna be key, and they have to practice and do every drill at that speed. So. Yeah.
no, and that's a big thing to see, like, because you see it working with the youth and the older ages is obviously the kids seeing that pathway, right? And I think that's an important thing for players to see, and on that note, what excites you about Siouxland soccer right now as a whole, whether it's the Soul, whether it's this group of Siouxland United, whether it's the college teams, the clubs, your personal training, what excites you the most right now?
What I seen lately is that desire to everyone work together for creating the right environment for all the kids. I think that's huge, and
Yep.
I think that I also coach high school soccer as
Yep.
well.
Oh, yeah, for South Sioux, who
for
had a
South
good,
Sioux City.
good run to the Nebraska State Tournament this year. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah, but I think everything is combined, right?
Yeah.
So if the club teams are doing a really good job, the colleges in the area and everything, everyone
Everyone grows,
contributes
Yep.
for the development of the players. We were able to have a really good season with South Sioux City, but you as a high school coach, you only have them for a couple months, right?
tops, yeah.
So if the club teams, the local club teams, are developing these players correctly, like they are, then the consequence is when you have them in high school,
Yeah,
well,
you
we're
can-
able to compete better.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
Yes.
the contribution is being key, I think, and now having teams like Siouxland United and Sioux City, so that it give us an opportunity. Ooh, that was a good save too.
Another keeper. He might
Yeah.
be my man of the match right now.
I
and,
know.
Even despite the scoreline, he's made 3 or 4 big
He
saves. But
yeah, but it seems like Siouxland is dominating the game very well. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. Though I was going to ask you about that. So, like as a high school coach, you were assistant at South Sioux. That jump. I remember they went from Class B to Class A. And you guys made the state semifinals at Class A. How was that jump, and how did you guys integrate everything that's going into Siouxland into that team?
yeah, it's the Class B, Class A, both have like really good teams, but I think you need to be pretty consistent when you're in Class A. Like
Yep.
there is like a good
The standard,
the standard is like higher, right?
Right.
But I think this year our player, like I say, I have to give the kudos to the club teams that they've been participating and everyone that is involved with these kids. The kids were ready to play, and when you play teams from a bigger community like it's Omaha, and you're competing, then
Right.
it talks very highly of what we're doing here in Siouxland. So,
Definitely.
we're happy to see that. Uru High Performance, the high school coaches, I think everyone
Starting to work together
yeah,
finally.
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. Obviously, you've been around enough. You've seen probably times in the town when people haven't worked together, and obviously it's good to see that. And you're one of the unique people who has a bunch of involvement at different levels.
Yes,
So, So, yeah, obviously, you know, how excited are you? Last question, and then I'll let you get on to it because you got a Sioux City Soul game today,
yeah.
right, at 5 o'clock?
At 5 o'clock, yeah.
5 o'clock. So, yeah, right after this, you're popping over. And obviously, you know, how excited are you for the matchup today? How's that game looking?
It's going to be a really good game. Last year, we were able to win both games, but it was really close.
Competitive.
And it was their first year, same than us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they've been doing a really good job. We like to scout. We like to keep track of all the teams that we play. They've been doing really good this season, and they had like really good players in integrating the team this year.
Right.
So we're expecting a really good match, a really tough game. But
For sure.
you know,
Especially in the heat when you're not used to it today, too. So
right. So
it got hot
hopefully-
all of a sudden here in Siouxland, and summer's here, right, Carlos?
Absolutely, yeah. I was talking to Jesse about that. Like, it's hot in here. I can imagine being in the turf right now, and like it's like at least 10, 15 degrees higher.
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
exactly.
So these guys are doing really good game.
You've coached on turf enough. But, yeah, you know, it's exciting to see all the soccer in Siouxland, and obviously you're a big part of it, Carlos. So, yeah, appreciate you coming out, supporting Siouxland United, and just keep bugging Jesse Castillo to make sure he stays on top of it over here, all right?
There you go. Thank
Thanks,
you,
my
Alex, for
friend.
everything.
Good
I
luck
appreciate
today.
it.
All right, and that was, again, Carlos Sainz. All-around coach, I'd say, in Siouxland. Would you agree with that, JD, with everything he's involved with?
Absolutely, Alex. You know, I've seen him a couple times. Great man, great coach, great guest to have on air here.
And a great defensive header there from Abdul. Obviously, when we were talking to Carlos, you know, the Outlaws had a flurry of corners there as well. You thought they were going to get that third goal, some great goalkeeping, great defending from the Blizzard as well. But once again, you know, it's we have a guest on, we create chances. So
Absolutely,
that's what we do at Siouxland United FC, and we get our Outlaw fan base and legends on here, and we move forward, right?
Absolutely, Alex. You know, credit where credit's due. Number 97 for the Minnesota Blizzard here, Dylan Yules. I mean, he's just been.
He's been solid in the net.
Solid. I mean, there's two have gotten past him, but once again, I mean, just the amount of saves he's been able to do, and just some of the incredible play here is just
Definitely
monumental.
And we have
key
a
portion.
couple subs here right at the 60th minute here for the Siouxland United Outlaws. Bernardo Torres, player who played collegiately at Briarcliff University, so a little Siouxland connection there coming on and probably slot in at the midfield. And then Christian Pewey will come in and look to make an impact like he did at striker last night when he came off the bench. You know, we thought he was fantastic up here in the booth, linking the play. So it'll be another hopefully high impact substitution for him, and you know, those are the subs that as a coaching staff makes you look smart when they do well, you know.
Absolutely, Alex. Gotta love it as a coach when your players play well.
Oh yeah, especially when they come off the bench, it just helps your cause.
There's once again we find ourselves in the back line here. Davidson seems to be getting the ball. Really a key point to reset the plays here.
It looks like the Blizzard are trying to press a little bit higher here, chase the game. Maybe the last little flurry of chances they had, you know, piqued their interest to push further forward. As we got about half hour left or so, probably with the 3 or 4 minute stoppage, I would guess, with obviously the water break coming here sometime in the second half because the heat just keeps rising. It looks like Pewey's trying to muscle his way in again. Really strong player physically, so you know I think Siouxland really tries to do that when they bring him on the field. Composed play there from the Blizzard. Torres with the press.
Cade McGooey able to handle it pretty well, looking for some of the support. Just wasn't able to get it for the Blizzard.
Good win there by the Outlaws as they look to possess. Found Torres with the ball at his feet. A player who's pretty good with the ball at his feet. Faulkner caught into some pressure, but Torres mops it up. Looks like the midfield three now is starting to gel and just a bit further forward. Midfield three for the Outlaws now looks like it's Faulkner and midfield four, excuse me. Obviously the three behind the attacking midfielder, Faulkner, Torres, and Munoz has dropped a little bit deeper to that holding mid position. Faulkner and Torres on the outsides of the diamond, and still got number 8, Yoshida, leading the midfield from that attacking spot.
as we find ourselves here in a little bit of back press here for the Outlaws. Able to break through some lines, at least trying to here. As Davidson, the captain, once again finds himself short wayward pass here at the top of the pitch. A lot of back and forth action. And of course, just taking their time. I think the Outlaws are just looking for that key opportunity here to build some momentum, kind of like this here. We might have an opportunity on our hands with a short wayward pass. Here, beautiful
good
cross. Wasn't able to be on mark though. Wonderful pass, just a little too far for the Outlaws.
And you just look for these fresh legs like we saw last night to make an impact, JD, right? You know, and especially as a substitute, you know, especially if you're a substitute that this is your first appearance all weekend, you know, or first start this weekend for guys that started from the start, you want to make that impact to obviously put that idea in the coaches' heads, right? That you can rely on me, that I could be a contributor to the team, which is important.
Absolutely, Alex. Fresh pair of legs, especially without being on the field this entire weekend. I mean, all eyes are on you.
Looks like it was an illegal throw there, so Siouxland gains possession. Almost looked like it was a foul about to be called on the Outlaws. Hence their disgruntled looks.
Just about to say. Alex here as the Blizzard once again.
Just out of touch there. Munoz finds himself in that deeper role.
Here back on the field here as Outlaws, right? Able to
Great
get
ball
on
by
the outside.
Yoshida. Another great ball. Can we put it away?
We can.
3-0. The substitute Pewee makes an impact.
Goal for Christian Pewee.
Absolutely wonderful, Alex. You know, just
Great little movement there. Great simple finish. And once again, Pewee comes off the bench and contributes as well, just like he did last night. And the bench is loving that, obviously, with some water being squirted all over. So,
absolutely, Alex. You know, that's just like you mentioned. He got off the bench, and just like last night, able to make some pretty big moves here for the Outlaws. But you know, I just love the simplicity of it. You know, we've been seeing a lot of great $3 moves, but he was able to score a goal with something that's probably cost 10 cents. You know.
Yep, exactly. And the build-up was key. Foreman was involved in that build-up and did very well. Yoshida, again, in that little position right underneath the strikers today, has found himself in some great pockets. And yeah, they just kind of played it around, isolated the defender. And, you know, unfortunately, the goalkeeper for Blizzard has had a great game. Couldn't keep that one out for them. But the Outlaws continue their, you know, I'll say early season dominance at home this year. You know, we're about 25 minutes from 2 full games, and so far it's been basically in a game and 2/3. 8 goals scored, none conceded here at Bishop Heelan Memorial Stadium, and that's a stat that's, I think, important as we move forward.
Absolutely.
Can't have some moments like that though. I'm just going to be quiet and stop jinxing it.
I was going to say, Alex, I think we need
take it over, JD.
I think we need to get another guest on here to counteract that.
Yes.
Is there any wood we can knock on around here? Where's the nearest wood?
All right, who's some guests we can call up here from the stands?
But of course, Alex, I mean, all this wonderful action, this coverage couldn't be made possible as looks like Blizzard's kind of looking for a call there.
Tough challenge there from Torres.
Yeah. But like I said, Alex, you know, all this great coverage cannot be done without the help of our great sponsors. Thank you to Campbell Electric, shocking the league, Shrunk Roofing for covering Siouxland, Quality IT, Digital Defenders, Go Passage, Easy Ticketing, Get Branded 360, and Reds Painting for making us look good. iHeartMedia, the Outlaw Hype Squad, Ho Chunk Capital, investing in the future, and Verde Outdoors, Signs That Shout. Thank you to those guys and many more for helping us sponsor this season and pay for all the lost balls as we almost lose another one here.
Fantastic play right there. Great dummy from Yoshida. Unlucky. Contrera looked like he was about to get on the score sheet again.
Absolutely, Alex. It would have been you know, from my perspective, Alex, it looked like it was going in, but looks like the turf monster just gave it that little nudge it needed to get out of the way.
I think another key in the center of the field was Yoshida's involvement in the build-up there. You know, he did a great dummy, found that pocket again to occupy some defenders, and gave the space to the 2 guys up top right now, Contrera and Pewee. Good win there.
Once again, possibly another opportunity here. Never mind, as the Blizzard defense sends it way out of the pitch.
Almost a great touch. Almost a handball, almost a great touch, but unfortunately for the Blizzard, it goes out of bounds. Oh, I think the fourth official agrees with my eyesight, telling him it's a handball. But I think the referee's just going to, he is going to call handball, and we'll play it from the ground. Kind of an indifferent moment in the grand scheme of things, since it was Siouxland's ball regardless.
Not really a call you need to really clarify, Alex. But as the Outlaws just really dancing around the defense here. As looking to reset some momentum here with Ironside.
Out here to Foreman again on the left. Yeah, you just look for Siouxland to see this game out at this point. Obviously, control possession.
And just run the clock down.
Not give it away like that, hopefully. Yeah, just make good decisions on and off the ball. Nothing silly. And just get to the next match, which is a big one. It's setting up to be versus Duluth FC here at home. And it is on Saturday night, June 7th, and the kickoff will be at 7 p.m. So should be a beautiful night for soccer, and obviously playing the league leaders and I'd say a traditional power in this conference as well at home.
Absolutely, Alex. A game you do not want to miss. So if you can make it out here to Bishop Helen Memorial Field, I would absolutely encourage you to do so. But if you can't, you can tune in with us here on YouTube, anywhere in the world, and we'll be sure to bring you live coverage as ball rolls out of play. Looks like it's going to be called for the Blizzard. Here. And like you said, Alex, you know, if I'm head coach of the Outlaws right now, I'm telling my boys to just keep it simple, keep it sweet, and don't let the energy get too high. You know, don't make those mistakes, those heat of the moment decisions. You know,
Definitely.
Just let them run out the clock, and just make it all about possession.
Looks like there's another substitute or two getting ready for the Outlaws, and we'll check on those coming up. Finding Contrera here driving past the defenders. Didn't want the hat trick then as Yoshida missed the first chance but put the second chance away. Great unselfish play there from Contrera. Good involvement from the midfield once again, and that is the fourth goal of today. And the Siouxland are trying to make it another 5-0 win with 20 minutes to go, obviously.
Absolutely. Alex.
Looking for that fifth goal again today like they were last night, JD.
There is a chance of that happening, Alex. 20 minutes left plus some stoppage time. I mean, found the Outlaws now I definitely am gunning for that 5-0 lead. What better way to win off a weekend, you know?
And like we were saying, you know, obviously goal difference matters. All that stuff matters in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, it looks like Yali Cohen, the center midfielder, is looking to come on here shortly. Yali captained the team yesterday, actually, to the 5-0 win. So obviously he's going to get another appearance here today when they can get him the information to take to the fourth official as Davidson calmly plays it out of touch. And obviously it looks like the Blizzard will make this a long throw.
Absolutely taking their time as well here.
And the crowd here who have braved the heat will not want the Outlaws to give up a goal here. And
looking like just a messy header there from the Blizzard, sending it way far out of the pitch as we enter our second water break of the match here.
And that's some time to give our sponsors some more shout out.
Absolutely. Thank you to Perspective Insurance. It's always got our back. Schuster for delivering wins. Shrunk Roofing for covering Siouxland. Gold Kick Soccer, your gear plug. Adidas, Stripes for Days. Rent Sue, our housing legends. Plains Asset Management, Smart Money Moves. Go Passage for easy ticketing. Quality IT, our digital defenders. Chesterman's and Powerade, a hydration squad. Rad LLC, our investment braids. Savvy Retirement and Investment Guidance. Reside Properties, Real Estate with the Heart. Verde Outdoors, Signs That Shout. Great Western Rentals, Tool of the Trade. Big Picture Entertainment, our screens giants, Hamilton Touchless for keeping my car clean. And of course, thank you to Shrunk Roofing for covering Siouxland and all of our other sponsors for sponsoring us this season. You know, Alex, last time we were in this position earlier this game, Outlaws scored a goal within 15 seconds, you know, and we kind of hope it'll happen again here.
Yeah, will lightning strike twice?
I mean,
Stay tuned.
It always, you know, they say it doesn't, but Empire State Building gets hit like 400 times a year.
Yep, and during this water break, if you've been watching the stream, you've been able to see there has been a substitution. Yali Cohen has come in for Xavier Davidson, the center back, who gets his first break on the weekend, and he does look spent in this heat. As we'll see where Cohen drops in. He's normally a midfielder, but he went in for the center back, so I would not be surprised if he drops just straight in the back line here and looks to retain possession a little bit more for Siouxland.
Absolutely not. You know, Alex, seeing as we're here at the tail end of the water break, I'd also like to thank our volunteers, event staff, game ops, media crew for making every match day possible. You know, the unsung heroes of the Siouxland United Outlaws.
Yeah, it does look like Cohen's just going to drop into that right center back spot for Davidson. Gets a captain's armband straight away.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, and he has played some center back in the inaugural season last year for the Outlaws due to some injuries there at that position. So normally being a center midfielder by trade, you know, willing to do anything for the team, and that's the quality you want to see in those leaders.
Absolutely here.
Faulkner with a nice header over to Torres.
Torres taking his time.
Torres looks to keep it.
Faulkner getting it back here, the back line.
Cohen's first touch here, just getting comfortable on the ball, plays it back to Ironside.
Ironside
sprays it to Foreman.
Looks like almost looks like a pretty high pass here as we enter the 75th minute of the match here, plus stoppage. Once again, Alex, you know, you just want to see the Outlaws kind of just kill the clock here and really make those smart decisions, not be too risky. But yep. I imagine they're trying to put that fifth ball in the back of the net. Ironside sends it way up the pitch here, as looking like it might be perfectly set up here.
What a great move by Pewey. What a great save by the keeper. Keeps it in. Another great save by the Blizzard goalkeeper.
Absolutely.
But that is how quickly Siouxland United's been breaking, not only today but yesterday as well. They get those moments, they break quickly to go forward. As foul off the ball there.
Makes them dangerous, Alex. You know, it's just, I'd imagine as a defender, just watching a team be able to go from one side to the other that quickly. I mean, you got to keep yourself on your toes at all times.
Yeah, a little something off the ball here. Referee sees nothing in it. Ball whipped in, unmarked there right at the top of the box. Outlaws get away with it. The straight touch from the Blizzard. Cohen not messing about.
Absolutely not.
Contreras almost gets on the end of it, but yeah, you know, you do like these situations as a coach, JD, to be routine, but they rarely are, right? You know, stuff
Nothing
pops
ever
up.
is, Alex.
Yeah, stuff pops up in a game, you know, no matter what the score line is.
Absolutely. You know, Alex, as a coach, what do you kind of, if you were on both teams here, if you were on the Outlaws head coach right now, what would you want to see them do right now?
Outlaws, it would just be keep doing what you've been doing all day and keep the standard high. You know, it's in situations like this, it's really easy to let the standard on the ball and off the ball drop. But obviously, you know, you just got to keep doing that because, you know, the minute you let down, it can affect this game, but not the next game. Blizzard, you know, it's kind of a risk reward. Yeah, it's you know, they're only playing their fourth game this year, both these teams are. You know, it's how much do you risk it to get back in it, maybe get a goal or two these last 15 minutes that might matter in the long run. You know, or is it a damage control situation, you know, looking at their upcoming schedule and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a tricky moment. You never plan to be down 4-0 in any game, you know, so it's always a unique situation, but it's just how do you react to those moments, I think, is a big thing. You know, you can can't change a past. You can only learn from it, and I think that's a massive thing on and off the field.
Absolutely, Alex.
Great little ball there from Yoshida Foreman. Can he clip it over?
Just a little too high there. But
Huey does fantastic to win it back.
what a win right there. As he just lets it roll out.
Yeah, the Outlaws
Huey
are
just really being the man of the moment up here at the front of the pitch. I mean, winning that ball back was incredible and kind of turning it into a real moment for the Outlaws, an opportunity. As this summer heat is starting to get to me as well.
Oh, JD, we're sitting in the air conditioning. We're not in the stands. You can't say that.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I
Thanks
took
to the air-conditioned press box at Bishop Hela Memorial Stadium.
Thank you to our sponsors. Gosh. But I took a nice little lap out there. Got to talk with some of the players, seeing how they're feeling.
Yep.
And
Did you get a nice feel for the vibes right now?
absolutely. You know, I know we're a little biased, but even with this short crowd turnout due to the extreme heat, you know, people are still energetic.
Yep.
As
Yeah, definitely.
Bowl.
The 2 o'clock Sunday kickoff is a unique one
Absolutely.
for the MPSL.
Both teams are. I will tell you this though, Alex. I walked right up to the field. Both teams are definitely feeling the heat because they were just yelling at each other. But you know, passion dies hard.
Well, and it's hard as a player to adjust. You know, this is our first really hot match day this year. So as a good little touch from Torres and a little burst of pace to get beyond, can he control his touch and slot it? Great goalkeeping there again, and both strikers almost got on the end of it. And Siouxland is definitely hunting that 5th goal. Yoshida in some space. Will he have a hit? Another great block from the Blizzard. They did that several times in the first half, and Siouxland's really looking to pour it on here. Torres here in the left-hand channel. Going to take his guy on. Another block shot. I'd be interested to see how many block shots by field players the Blizzard have had today. It seems like a lot.
It definitely is, Alex. As once again,
Good ball over the top there, and Abdul calmly covers it to Ironside and cycles it back to Cohen. As a Blizzard goalkeeper has gotten plenty of work today. Definitely nothing to hang his head about today, despite the scoreline.
Absolutely not, Alex. You know, if I was him, even though the score is what it is, I know that I've had some pretty incredible moments here.
And that's almost an incredible ball there from Faulkner into the channel. Looking to get Contreras in. Got about 9 minutes on the clock plus stoppages.
Blizzard
Hits the referee there.
passes it to the referee there.
I completely understand why they added that rule, but it does get a bit annoying at times. Since it did hit the referee and Blizzard were in possession, they will retain it. Referee drops it, and we are live. Nice little chipped ball here to the left-sided sideline for the Blizzard, and they had numbers forward there. Siouxland actually had to deal with it.
Definitely numbers forward there, Alex.
I definitely think there is another goal in this game. It's just a matter of which way it goes, JD. You know, there's been chances both ways here the last few minutes.
Speaking of chances, Alex, here we go. Some fancy footwork. Let's see what the Outlaws have in
Contreras
store.
finds Torres.
Torres kind of gives it up there.
Bit of a heavy touch.
Messy touch, which kind of gives it up there as we find ourselves back in the back line of the Outlaws here. Midfield. Hopefully find an opportunity here for Faulkner. Up to Torres.
Siouxland playing a bit of nice football right in front of General Manager Jesse Castillo.
Gotta look good for the boss.
Oh, absolutely. Munoz defending one-on-one.
Outlaws here able to put some pressure on here. Faulkner able to send it out. Looking like it's going to be in the hands of the Blizzard.
Foreman looks like he has a knock. Might have to get someone else ready off the bench here.
As the one and only Bailey Clapper comes out on the pitch to assist.
This will add a little bit of time potentially.
So as Clapper walks Faulkner off the field here. Looking like subs for both sides here.
A couple of substitutions. Coming on for the Blizzard, number 1, Becker Cruz. And coming on for your Outlaws, number 12, Jin Itsukawa.
It looks like those substitutions, just to confirm, Becker Cruz comes on for the Blizzard, and Jin Ichikawa comes on for your Outlaws. Looks like there's another sub that will be there at the next stoppage as well, as coaches are going deeper in their bench here on this hazy summer afternoon.
Absolutely, Alex.
Approaching the hottest part of the day.
And worst part is the sun's breaking through that cloud, so you know it's just going to get warmer as we go on. But thankfully, only about 7 minutes plus stoppages here at Bishop Hill Memorial Field.
Another substitution. It looks like number 19 for the Blizzard. Looks like the referee's not going to allow it this time. We'll
Maybe
get that
not.
name and information for you next time.
Substitution for the Blizzard.
Hope he is.
Unless
Oh, I stand corrected.
Eric Mathis.
Eric Mathis coming on the field for the Blizzard, and he'll go straight away into the box, trying to create a goal here and get the Blizzard on the score sheet. And the ball floats in the net. Looked like a little bit of a misjudgment there from Ironside, as the perfect weekend in front of goal for the Outlaws has gone awry, as it is 4-1, and the Blizzard find themselves on the score sheet.
absolutely, Alex. Carter Hermanson stepping off for the Blizzard here on that last little sub. Well, Alex, there's that goal you were talking about. The last one left.
Yeah, you can't get complacent in that situation, unfortunately.
Definitely not something you want to see.
It did look like there might have been a little contact in the box as well, but you know, obviously that happens on about every set piece. So either way, the ball's in the back of the net, and we play on at a 4-1 scoreline currently. See if the Outlaws will look to push to restore that 4-goal cushion today. As Jin, after his substitution, dropped in at left back, and Contreras still able to dribble by 9 out of every 10 defenders he's faced today.
Absolutely. Just got a little messy there. Was able to recover it. Just a short pass that the Blizzard defense was able to get to quicker. As the ball rolls out of play. Once again, looking like we might have another Outlaw substitution here.
And another Outlaw substitution. Coming off for Faulkner. Coming on number 5, Emilio Mario.
Looking like Faulkner stepping off the
Yes.
field here.
Yep. Faulkner had a good day today in the center of the park, good 85 minutes. Just gets to enjoy the rest here. And Emilio Madrigal will come on today. And Emilio had a fantastic game yesterday, was involved in a lot of things good in the midfield. So obviously coming off the bench for a slight cameo this afternoon, JD. And, you know, to follow up his good performance yesterday, I think is kind of maybe one of those situations just to keep his legs loose and keep him sharp heading into the big match next week.
Absolutely, Alex. You know, let the man rest, but let him, you know, like you said, warm up for the match next week. As Outlaws go for a huge cross pass, but find themselves back in the back line once again. Forward pass right into the Blizzard defense, but they send it outside of play here. About 4 minutes left plus stoppages here in today's game, but definitely seeming like the Outlaws want to get that last goal in for that 4-lead
Pewey's
cushion.
determined to be involved with it himself.
Absolutely. Looking to make that cushion.
Feels like every time Pewey or Contreras get the ball, they're just driving right at the back line, and they're doing it with success, so it definitely makes some sense to continue to do that. As we'll have
Absolutely.
a long throw here, and Outlaws are really going to try and get one back off of the long throw that the Blizzard scored on, potentially. Runner here on the back post. Nice little flicked header. Keeper slightly knocks it out, but then the Blizzard are able to clear further, and a long clearance here. Just a scuffed through ball there.
Right into Ironside.
Yeah, and obviously, first off, we'd like to thank all of our guests for coming on today, taking time out of their day, watching the game, all that fun stuff. And it's like a couple of them said, this team is kind of a melting pot of guys from all over, whether that be in Siouxland, outside of Siouxland, but it's kind of a nice coming together place, which I think is important. You got guys on the roster from Madrid, Spain, like Javi Munoz. You got Osaka, Japan, like Jin Ikawa, who just subbed on. You got Sioux City, Iowa, Bernardo Torres, Sioux City, Iowa, in Brazil. South Sioux City, Nebraska, Jaime Ponce, Frankfurt, Germany, Kingston, Jamaica, Xavier Davidson. So it's definitely a melting pot. And if you look at all their schools they've played at, you got everything from community college, four-year schools, NAIA schools, NCAA schools. A lot of JUCO flavor on the roster, which obviously shows that pathway as well. But yeah, it's a really unique situation Siouxland United is in here, and it's great to see them come out these first two home games and do fantastic, JD.
Absolutely, Alex. Getting people to come out, especially in this kind of heat, to watch a live event for 90 minutes is not an easy feat, and yet we still have people out here. And I believe Jesse Castillo yesterday mentioned it, but I know I did too a little bit. Growing up watching soccer, I remember back when it used to just be people who were directly related, parents, cousins, brothers, and now we've got people from all walks of life just coming out to enjoy a good game of soccer,
Mm-hmm.
And you just love to see it as a fan.
Oh, yeah.
As the Blizzard knock it out, or, excuse me, the Outlaws knock it out of play here. Short little pass for the Blizzard. As we have a very messy pass here, going all the way back to Blizzard's goalkeeper. It'll be interesting to see what they decided to do here with the last minute of play plus stoppages. I assume 3-4 minutes extra time, overtime for stoppage.
So JD, what do you got to plan the rest of the day then in this hazy Sunday afternoon?
Alex, even though they do sponsor us, I'm definitely gonna be heading over to Wells Blue Bunny Ice Cream and getting some wonderful ice cream for this hazy day, and definitely get some Powerade because we're gonna need it.
Yeah,
But,
nice cool Powerade sounds great today.
A nice ice cold purple Powerade, that grape flavored.
Purple would be your first choice.
I'm a little strange when it comes to that stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Blue's got to be number one, dude.
Blue's gonna be number one. I mean, blue. I'll be fair. Blue is a post workout thing for me.
Blue's the original flavor, I would say. So, and don't know about that call right there, but referee sees it differently. I thought it looked like Jin got the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the referee needs some Powerade too to get hydrated.
Honestly, thanks to our sponsor, he can get some.
Definitely. Yeah, Siouxland's got to deal with this here, though. You definitely don't want a second goal going in, kind of dampen the mood a little bit.
Absolutely
4-2
not.
looks a lot different than 4-0.
Absolutely not, Alex. Here as we enter stoppage time, but
Ooh, looked like a foul there
yeah,
from
looked
behind.
Like some pretty rough push
on the
there
Blizzard
from my perspective.
and Abdul went down hard. It did look like he went through his back a little bit.
Yeah.
Only thing you can think of, maybe the referee was screened, and that's a guy you don't want to see go down for Siouxland United. He's
Definitely
had a
not.
great 2 full games here. The Northeast Community College center back.
No, he's been kind of a key moment in a lot of the opportunities here as we enter our, I believe this might be our second corner kick of the match, Alex. Which,
I think we've had more than that, JD.
Maybe
The heat's getting to you, my man.
They say the haze is getting to me, ladies and gentlemen. Which again doesn't even make sense. We're in an AC environment. Gosh. Anyway, thank you to Wells Blue Bunny, La Juanitas, Fibercom, Stone Creek Hotel, Chesterman's Powerade, Ho Chunk Capitals, Gold Kick Soccer, Adidas, Perspective Insurance, Rent Sue, Plains Asset Management, and Get Branded 360, and the YMCA for sponsoring us this season. As we have an opportunity here for the Blizzards.
Ooh. That would have been an incredible goal if that found its way in the back of the net.
An incredible goal. Thankfully, it's just a neat crossbar.
Froze Ironside in the net there.
As Blizzard is looking for that call. Looking for a handball call for the Blizzards.
And the referee Saw a deflection off of Cohen's shoulder there. I don't think you could ever give the handball there. Looked like his arm was in a natural position and wasn't making himself bigger. But yeah, this is not the way you want to end the game, obviously, you know, kind of on the back foot, you know, after a pretty good weekend.
Absolutely not, Alex.
But maybe it's something where the changes affected the game more than we know, and a header comes in and balls bounce around the box again. Siouxland United has to deal with these situations a little bit better.
Absolutely, Alex. You know, I think we're just seeing
Another
a team that's
bad giveaway
tired.
there.
Just a team that's tired and the heat's getting to them. You know, just,
Yeah,
and
and
they're just kind of letting it slide a little bit. And definitely something you don't want to see
Well, it's-
in stoppage time.
it's probably something where obviously the Blizzard are throwing more things forward, but you know, from a Blizzard perspective, if you do this earlier, maybe that changes the game, you know. But then again, hindsight's always 20/20. But yeah, definitely not the way you want to end on the back foot here for Siouxland. See if they can salvage maybe the last good chance or goal of the game right here as Madrigal looks like he's in and just a step off sides. It did look like he went just a half step too early, JD.
You know, Alex.
Although tight, and would not be shocked if the referee blows his whistle here soon. But we play on.
We play on.
Referee wants to keep the game going, and that is it. So, 2 for 2 on the weekend homestand for your Siouxland United Outlaws. 4-1 winners today versus the Minnesota Blizzard. That result will pull Siouxland United into a 4-way tie with 3 other teams from the NPSL North Conference and put them in a prime position to go into their match with first place Duluth next week, JD. So, JD, what are your thoughts on the game today?
Absolutely, Alex. You know, definitely. You could definitely tell both teams played the game yesterday, but overall, just great back and forth action. Like I mentioned, Outlaws were able to maintain momentum for pretty much the entire match, except for maybe the last 5 minutes, plus a little bit of stoppage time where, you know, the Blizzard was able to finally get that goal and just really get close. But outside of that, Alex, I mean, great game, great match, especially for the heat and all
Definitely. No, and I think the silver lining is, you know, yes, you won 4-1, yes, you won 5-0 yesterday, but there's still a lot to be improved upon within the team individually and as a whole. And I think that's what the coaching staff will look at as we move forward here into, you know, a good matchup, obviously, versus Duluth FC when they come to town next weekend. So, anything else to add, JD?
No, you know, I think it's great to watch a lot of these teams, like you said, have pretty good chemistry, but definitely more to work on. We'd also like to thank, just one more time, a quick shout out to Remax Experience, our premier team partner, the YMCA official gym provider, Thrive for keeping us running strong, Perspective Insurance for always getting our back, Schulster for delivering wins, Rent Sue for housing legends, La Juanita's Tacos with a Bite, Wells Blue Bunny. Victory invitation is so sweet. Definitely something I want to get today on a hot day like today. iHeartMedia, the Outlaw Hype Squad, and Big Picture Entertainment, our screen giants, Hamilton Touchless, and Rad LLC, the investment brains. Thank you to those and on all of our sponsors, and thank you to you for joining us here, either at Bishop Hill Memorial Field or on our live coverage. Alex?
That's all I have today. Thanks again for joining us. 2 for 2 on the weekend, like I said, for the Outlaws, and we hope to get everyone either tuned into the live stream or back here in person for what's set to be a great matchup in the NPSL North Conference. So thanks again. Have a good day, and go Outlaws.